packet tonight?
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye.
Aye.
We have taken it through by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
You're watching Full Day, your late night show. And already seated in the studio and joining me now is Steve Orurua, who is the Deputy Chairman of the PDP in Enugu State. Steve, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. A very good evening to you.
Yeah, Steve, as you were just sitting down, our Zoom guest, Peter Ame, who is the Secretary General of COP, just joined us. So just give me a few minutes to talk with Peter. Peter, are you there? Welcome to Full Day.
I'm here. Can you hear me? Good evening.
You know, Nigeria has become a country where some people say that the politicians have no principles, have no set objectives. They can change like the chameleon, and that political parties have become convenient platforms to achieve individual goals. Is that your understanding of what we see all the time, people moving from one party to the other?
I think on a very large extent, this the scenario you have painted is the truth. But the fact that there are still a lot of people who still believe in this principle of commitment to internal party structuring, multi-party democratic processes as established by the Constitution in section 221 to 210. So there are people who still believe in this. But because our system is only driven by the quest and the desire to have power and have authority to say that I'm this and I'm that. If a society that does not work, a society that does not benefit the less privileged without knowing somebody, that is the kind of society you see such things happen. And some people want to get into office just to be able to enjoy certain privileges that are not available to the common man. So there's very few set of people who do not really have core principles of how to be democratically stable or participate in democracy in a way to ensure to deepen the culture of those who have participated. So you have a situation where you don't have a system of government that when a party loses at the general election, all the members of the party have to go back to to the drawing board, and some people might not have the courage to stay for another 4 years because those who are in government will start to now use state resources to strengthen themselves. So naturally, by and large, the issue is that it's a societal one. It's the issue that we must all tackle headlong, and we must also commit to building a very good internal party structure that can be able to defend all this, because you cannot have a system that politicians are richer than those who work in public service. There is one of the greatest, the easiest way to get rich, where you see politicians who have never worked before driving. So this challenge is part of the issue. Political party is just a step with an opportunity to get to power. But if you look at it very well, it is meant to be able to bring service to the people. It is meant to be able to bring representative democracy to the people. It is meant to be able to develop the constituencies and districts that have been established by our constitution.
It's me to the topic we are looking at tonight, which has to do with coalitions and alliances for 2027 politics. Basically, people are leaving their old political parties, and El-Rufai is one perfect example. Some people say because he didn't get a ministerial position, because he's been sidetracked, because he has lost in the power game. He's now leading, a campaign for a new political party to challenge the ruling party. Do you think that what drives these politicians really is the good of the common man or the good of Nigeria? Or is it this coalitions and alliances, are they just based on pecuniary individual interests?
A lot of people look for me. I want to be fair. I wish any Verify has ministerial appointment today with the Tinubu administration. It will be here struggling with us in the opposition. No, to be sincere, that you know the answer as much as everybody, all our viewers watching, that it will still be there in the government. I think we don't want a situation where government looks as if when we don't get opportunity, we go against those who have rejected us for not having that opportunity. So and that also played down on those who are very serious-minded, who have committed themselves to opposition politics. Politics is just people want to be able to call it all sorts of names to to dim the definition of what politics is. Politics is a means of trying to engage the society through dialogue, through whatever means is possible, to make them see you as somebody who can represent the interest of the larger population, larger populace, and then do things in the interest of the general populace. So if you have a situation where people get aggrieved and use the masses as a partner to fight their own struggle, and when they get aggrieved and when they're in power, they develop table manners. It's not going to be good for our democracy. It's not going to. And if you look at it, there are a lot of people who don't believe in him. There are a lot of people. I used to believe in him. I used to because I saw what he did in Abuja. But with the kind of character that people are now developing in this process, we at least want to so much doubt to see whether this. But I not see many people who still want that this opposition coalition you are seeing. It is for the best interest of our democracy. It is for the best interest of our own people, because you can never have a system that works perfectly when you have one party dominating 90% of the society. You can never have a system that works, because a system that has no alternative views, or to be able to, a system that has no, a way that could challenge their policies and programs that are not yielding results and probably drain Nigeria into recession, into depression, and into economic downturn. That system will continue to go spiral down. So, but if you have an opposition system that works, or a coalition that have come together for the best interest of the people, not for the purpose of capturing power like the APC have done in 2015 and today.
I was going there in 2014, leading us into 2015. We saw the creation of that mega coalition of APC that became APC. And Nigerians were excited. And after the election and the party came into power, I don't think a lot of Nigerians have so much to say about the success of that coalition that gave birth to the APC. So what assurances do we have that if this coalition by any chance is able to capture power, that the lot of Nigerians will be better? Any assurances?
I think I've seen candidates that have money, financial money management, because one of the greatest things that Nigeria suffers from is waste of our resources, is the overbloated size of government expenditure, and we see people who have capacity to be able to handle such thing. So this will be totally different. This is not about power capture. A lot of people have said that if you listen to a lot of the coalition members, some of them have said, look, they won't participate in this process if it's just about for the mere purpose of capturing power. So the key things for this one is that people have tested the previous people for 18 years. They have tested the other people now. By 2027, it will be 12 years. So people are trying to look for a system that we can be able to establish with people who have competence, people who have merit, who have capacity. The person must not come from the north. The person must not come from the east. The person must not come from wherever the person comes from. It must have this ingredients that I mentioned that can help our nation to transform his human capital and huge resources base that we have, and yet we are still having 129 million people living in multi-dimensional poverty that represent 56% of our population. We can do better, and I think that we should be able to create a nation where inequality, and a qualitative representation becomes an issue, because people don't like to be able to say this. A country that is determined divide its people between minority and majority can never have the kind of stable government that they need, because it is about the.
Can you tell me sincerely? Can you be very realistic? Can you tell me? I mean, looking at all the indices, looking at the power game, looking at the APC, looking at the PDP and the other parties, and then looking at this seeming coalition that is coming, can you tell me sincerely that you can fairly predict that this coalition can defeat the APC in 2027?
That were put in place in 2023. If you look at what Obi did in the South alone, Obi scored down 44.5% of the vote cast in Southwest, South, and Southeast. 44.5%. Bola Tinubu, who was coming from a political party that has all the apparatus of state, that has all the most majority of the governors and the House of Rep, in the South, scored 35.5%. The only reason Bola Tinubu became president, despite the rigging that they did, was because the North, where Atiku comes from, Atiku could not host way to be able to shut them down. So the majority of his vote came from the North, about 60% of the vote he got. And even in the North, between Kwankwaso and Obi still got 15.2%. I've avoided not to speak about people. But the truth is that if you put this data that I've mentioned together, and you support, because this is still supposed to remain in the South, we need to be strategic. Opposition need to be strategic thinking going forward. If you put remain in the South and you contest with Bola Tinubu, I am sure before 12 o'clock we will defeat Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The opposition will defeat him, and it is on record that it has happened before, and it will be easier now because it's opposition against hunger, against bad leadership, against the level of infection, against the cost of buying fuel, the cost of buying energy, whatever energy. Whether it's electricity, whether it's to buy fuel for your car, these costs have skyrocketed beyond 300%. So we cannot tell me that the way people are thinking now, and the way the society is, and the way the poverty is the country is driving on autopilot. Why we have a president that is globetrotting? You can't tell me that it's going to be a difficult thing to defeat him. I don't think so.
Okay, Peter. I'd like to thank you, and I like your optimism. Thank you for joining us. Peter Ame, Secretary General of the Coalition of United Political Parties. And in the studio with me is Steve Oruro, who is the Deputy Chairman of PDP in Enugu State. And I'd like to ask Steve, how can we, of course you heard my conversation with Peter Ame, and we talked about people leaving parties, new coalitions, and all that. How do you think that once again we can make the political parties an incubation hub for transformational political office holders? I don't want to say transformational leaders. I'm talking about transformational political office leaders. Political office holders. How can we make that happen?
Honestly, I think I'm a bit concerned like you are, but I insist that it is possible that within the rank and file of the party, we can create a hub that will churn out, consistent leaders, poised and best repositioned to redeem the image of the country. It has been almost a free fall. And I was wondering that as at 1923, when the NNDP was formed, actually, those who formed the NNDP and formed actually Nigerian Youth Movement in 1935, we're talking about NX to Koli and the likes of Samuel Adesina, what were they thinking about? Even when Azikiwe, alongside Herbert Macaulay, in 1944 formed the NCNC. What were they thinking about? Were they thinking about the colonization of the processes and of the country? Were they thinking about desertification? Were they thinking about taking Nigeria through another route of suffering and imperialism? Were they thinking about emancipation of the people? What did they have in mind? And for me, they had a system where they believed that we had suffered so long under slavery and had also suffered under colonialism, and the country needed to decolonize their mind. And they wanted the education system should be manned by their own people, that the infrastructural development should be manned by their own people, that the health system should be manned by their own people. They had hope in this country. And there are only two kinds of leaders. Either those who make sacrifices for self or those who make sacrifices of self. They made sacrifices of self for the greater interest of the larger majority. Of course, that's the certain. And the kind of political parties that we run today, honestly, not necessarily holistically in tandem with ideological standards set by, these people I mentioned. We need a party that should be sanitized. We need a party that should be highly independent. We need a party that the processes of electing leaders should be domiciled within the rank and file of the party, within the conscience of the party, and not being influenced by powers outside.
A number of people say that one of the reasons the political parties are not playing this role that you have put forward and that you've compared with our founding fathers is because the political parties have increasingly become undemocratic. That instead of being strong institutions, that what you have are strong individuals, governors, presidents, senators. They've become so powerful that the will of the people is constantly and continuously eroded. Do you subscribe to this argument?
Well, the truth is that I have always insisted that the biggest office in the country is the office of the citizen. Therefore, it behooves on us to always be truthful, to be sincere, despite the positions we occupy, either in the party or in government. The truth is that our institutions are capitulating, and strong men are germinating everywhere. Powerful people within and around government in party influence decisions that parties make. But then that calls, that demands a further analysis of whom the politician is. Because I do not believe in generalization. There are individuals that are wired to propagate a kind of transition that will bring an atmosphere that is sanitized enough to incubate quality leadership. And such individuals are still within the party and within politics. So the question is, who is the Nigerian politician? Some view Nigerian politicians as a conflicted individual with split personality, capable of doing two different things that are opposed to each other. Some also feel that the politicians are kind of a set of an idle parasitic rent collecting or rent seeking class whose business is to propagate profligacy and corruption within the system. But I insist that within this space lies certain persons that have sacrificed a lot, that are willing, if given opportunity, to develop this country and make hard decisions that will not reflect the impediments that we have suffered. In a country where we have been set aback, we have gone through certain kind of deterioration of some sort under the watch, or under the auspices of religious bigotry, ethnic chauvinism, ethnic profiling, identity politics, and unbridled corruption.
But Steve, the idea of political parties is that it should be a platform for sieving some of the characters that you have talked about and making sure that those that get to political offices are really those that are committed to the well-being of the people. But what we see is that the political parties have become a market where the highest bidder becomes the representative of the people.
Like I said earlier on, the major problem today is what becomes the fate of the country. What country are we leaving for our children? Even if you feel that you feel immune, if you feel, protected by certain scenario that's playing out today, probably you have enough money or you're getting enough patronage from the government today. What about your children tomorrow? What kind of environment are you living for them?
So what do we do?
So this is exactly why I talk about personalities within government or within political parties. Those personalities determine the fate of the political parties. As an institution, if you unveil the veil, you find out that human beings actually determine what happens within the institution called political parties. So the caliber of men and women that congregate to form political parties or manage them will also influence the outcome of what they generate or what they produce.
So what do we do, Steve?
What
do
we
we
need
do?
to do-
What do we do to make the political parties exactly what they are supposed to be?
What we need to do first is that we need to accept that we have moved so much on the reverse gear. This country needs to move forward. So individually and collectively, there should be a wake-up call. And that's why I like whatever played out in the last election. There seemed to be a reawakening, there seemed to be a rebirth, there seemed to be a renaissance on the side of the youth and the entirety of the people. They felt it was enough. Despite the fact that probably the result they got could have reflected what they wished or not, but you could see that they made a statement. So the Nigerian politician, the elitist class, they have become wary of what the electorate can do, of what the populace can do, of the defiance that the electorate can actually generate within the society. So for you to now conduct a proper party, you have to reflect on the powers of the electorate and how they are going to react. So this is no longer a time you do all manner of sham primaries and end up bringing rogue elements to govern your people. It's a time to look for a candidate that resonates with the yearning of the masses, with the interest of the poorer majority.
Some experts have talked about conflicts in the political parties, making it impossible for the political parties to actually concentrate on their primary duty of being the incubation hub for leaders that can cause change to happen. Let's look at Labour Party in Nigeria, for instance. They made a lot of gains in the last election. Today, they almost dissipated. Let's look at the PDP, your party. In the past 3 or more years, it's been a struggle of who is in charge and who is winning and who is losing. And I remember one of the positions you held like a year ago was to go and reconcile your party men in Ebonyi State. So conflict, and conflict. How can we change the course of political parties instead of being battlegrounds so they can be that platform that will throw up the leaders that can change our country?
Well, let me start with the first suspicion that the PDP, the Labour Party seem to be faltering, seem to be, capitulating in terms of, the quality of leadership one would expect. And there seems to be identity crisis as to who is in charge. First of all, I see the voice of Jacob, but the hands of Esau. I think that people are surreptitiously, tacitly trying to infiltrate into the parties to create a one-party system. And I think if we deny ourselves the opportunity of having plurality of voices, plurality of opinions through the channels or through the instrumentality of party politics, then we'll be diving into dictatorship. So first of all, let me talk about the party I know, which is the PDP. Things that happen within the Labour Party, I don't think they concern me a lot. But for the PDP, the governors of the PDP have actually stepped up. They've engaged gear at the right time, and they want to recover their party. So all the machineries of the party are working in one accord at the moment, in a very vigorous attempt to re-establish their party, to be effective enough to go into primaries and bring out a candidate that can challenge for the office of the presidency.
Okay, Steve, we'll take a break and go to our conversation with the great entertainer and TV personality, Chief Chika Okpala. This is the part one of a conversation that started with how he grew up and at what point he made contact with television entertainment. So we take that and we conclude our conversation in a moment.
No go die. Your mother come, my mother no come.
Who be your mother? Police woman.
Shut up.
Get away. Come, look, wait, no. Look at
Yeah, what am I here? What am I here in that place? Eh? Who? And you don't come. How are you? How are the old people? Oh, you're welcome. Sit down. My God, Olivia, come to see that coach. I took this out to come to resort.
Immediately after the war,
Good.
I came into it was a kind of everybody rushing to Enugu. Anywhere you are, any vehicle you see, you go to Enugu, whether you have somebody there or not. That was how I came to Enugu. I didn't have any brother, I didn't have any sister, I didn't have anybody in Enugu. My senior brother was still in IMT, College of Technology, Enugu here, and he's trying to struggle to finish his OND at that time, OND. So I said, I cannot stay alone at home. I must do something. So I saw some people, when I got to our for market where the vehicles load to go to Enugu or go to Onitsha, people were rushing to go to Enugu. So I entered the vehicle. I came to Enugu.
And you had nobody?
I had nobody. No place to, I didn't have anybody in mind. I didn't even know where my son brother was there. I didn't even know where the College of Education is. I mean,
Technology was.
Is. I just entered the vehicle and came. Luckily, they stopped us at Opera Avenue by Zik Avenue. You know, by Oboite now. That's where they used to stop in those days. And very, very luckily, I looked up, this was Nigerian Red Cross. Okay? I checked my pocket, I had my ID card. So I moved into that place, got into
The Red Cross.
Into the Red Cross, introduced myself, told them that I work the Nigerian Red Cross, Biafran Red Cross, down there to say, hey, we are looking for you. You will know your people, come. You know? I say, look, what you're going to do, you're going to take charge of clinic kitchen. I said, which one is clinic? I said, everybody, you see the people on the line. By then you have about 200 people on the line.
Looking for
queuing
food.
for food, for drink, water to drink, for food. Now, we are now going to make sure that each of them has food. So the cook and the chef will bring the food, keep for you. Now you get the chefs to serve the meal.
You supervised?
You supervise. So you are a supervisor. I say, yes, sir, no problem. Me, supervisor, no problem. Give me stool. They gave me stool, I sat down. I come and take. Come and take.
And that was a job.
It was a big job.
Employment, just like that.
Just like that. Just like that. I say, okay. But I did it so well that they think, I acted it. And they say, this man is different from other people. Stay, this is your job now. So people were coming to take dish their food, take their ration.
Yeah.
Everybody was coming for ration. They were taking and going. And when it was about 4:35, they said, it's okay. You will now go. We will give you your own food. Come and sit down here and eat. Because I had not eaten since morning. So they gave me food. I ate. As I settled down to eat, look at my friend, Ogodnago, the one I was with in the Two Cities Playhouse.
Okay.
At ENUGU.
At ENUGU.
You saw what I mean?
You just appeared.
Just like he came to take ration. He came to take ration. He had left for ENUGU weeks
before you.
Before me. And he didn't tell me he was going to ENUGU. Everybody was on his own. You know, that kind of thing. So I said, Ogonna, Chika, how did you find yourself here? I said, how did you find yourself here? I said, well, that's the thing now. Where are you staying? I said, I don't have a place to stay. He said, don't worry, you have a safe place. Come now, have you eaten? I said, no. So I ordered for food for him. He took food. I took my own ration. We ate together. And when we finished, we took another ration for dinner. Since I was a supervisor, so I had the right to say, put one more ration, put one more ration. So all of us will tie the thing. But the funniest part of it was that nobody had plate.
Then?
It's either you go to get akuko, you get these leaves and keep. They put the food for you there. There's no spoon, there's no fork. If it is, what is it called? Garigabon or something. It's not, it's like ordinary gari, but not garigabon or something like that. Then you are lucky. You take this kind of leaf and wrap it and hold it in the other hand. It is a soup that is a problem. So you go and look for newspaper. People who have read newspaper and thrown away, you use it and they put soup for you. So that's how people collected food. So we collected our own, went to Zik Avenue where he was staying. And when we got there, it was a room and parlor rented by the in-law, by the brother-in-law, you know. So he said, no problem. You will know the owner of this house, of the accommodation when he comes in. I said, how can I know him? He said, you will know him. So late in the evening, Tony Face came in. That's the owner of the accommodation. He came in and jumped. I said, yeah, Chika, you are here. Hey, God. Come. Ogonna, please, this mat is for two of you. And from Nigerian Red Cross, I left. I want to cut it short. I left to Rehabilitation Commission. Not leaving Nigerian Red Cross because that's where the main food is. Yeah. If I left my food, then I'm done. I went to Rehabilitation Commission, they said they want to put up a show. They want to start going from local government to local government to perform.
Enlighten people, sensitize.
Kind of bringing back the life to the people. I said, that's what I do. I said, okay, you're going to produce a show here. Try and start thinking of what kind of show you are going to produce. I said, okay. So I was there, thinking, writing what we did at home at ENUGU. I tried to concoct it to put up to a show. Then we They said they were going to the ministry to get us some money to be able to organize this show, because they know that we'll have to. But I did not see the money, I did not see the organization, but I wasn't bothered because I had a place to stay and I had my Red Cross job to do, so I was okay. So when I came back in the evening, Ogonna said, look, oh, this one you're talking of going to rehabilitation, this ministry, nobody, you're not going to be okay with the ministry. That I have where we go to rehearsals. All the big in this town. The, what do you call them? Permanent secretaries, managers, so and so in the industry and in the government. They have a rehearsal at British Council, Ogi Road. And if you come there and you are lucky to be taken, you are done. I said, okay. Will you be going there? I said, yes, let's go together. So I left rehabilitation. I moved to British Council. And when we got to British Council, he said, this man is Mr. James Iroha. He is the producer of this show. He works in ECBS. ESBS. I mean,
Eastern Nigeria Broadcasting. Yes.
ESBS, of course. Yeah. Not ENUGU State.
Yes, I know.
Eastern Nigeria Broadcasting Service. Mm-hmm. That's where he works, and he's a producer. He's producing this show. And then even his Oga is also there. All the partners, Chris Fodile, what are they? There are so many of them.
They were all there.
They were all there. That's matured people were there. I said, So James saw me and said, oh, my good friend, young boy, I like you. Fine, come. The problem is that I have casted that we have a show we call Sons and Daughters by J.C. de Graaf of Ghana. And it's a very interesting show. Of course, you watch us do our rehearsals and you make assessment by yourself. I said, okay, no problem. But I have given out the parts, all of them. But what I will do for you is to double cast you. That your friend here is playing the lead part, Aaron. Now, Aure is played by Olebara. Not Nnamdi Olebara, but the senior brother who was teaching at Holy Rosary College, Uwani. So this is where it all started. So Aure is a friend to Aaron. Aaron played by my friend. Aure is also a friend of mine. So we got on fine. But Aure is a teacher and he didn't want to miss school. So, but they wouldn't put rehearsals during school hours. They would put rehearsals after school hours so that everybody is accommodated. Even those in the ministries can come in. Those in NTA, I'm not NTA, but East Central Broadcasting Service should have closed from work and come in. So everybody will come in by 4 p.m. We rehearse until 9 p.m. and everybody goes home. So I was there going to buy cigarettes, going to buy minerals for people who are thirsty and all this, buy water and all that. I was a general duty boy. And we started on. James Hero has said, no, you have to come to me, with me to East Central State Broadcasting Service. I mean, yes, East Central State Broadcasting Service. That I have a show I've written a radio show which we call In a Lighter Mood. In a lighter mood is ticked chats and jokes. You know, he tells some little stories, some humorous stories, and then put some jokes into it. Now he wants to act the jokes, or the jokes to be acted while he tells the story. I said, fine. Whatever we can do to keep our people happy, let's go ahead. So we rehearsed, and it was beautiful. Then it was Clarus himself, Madam Trueward Obba, and Selina Ngobo. 4 of them. There were only 4 characters. So when I came in, they said, well, they had already gotten a chief, and the chief was Nsofo Obua. Was quite big, you know, a huge. Our idea of chiefs are people who are huge, not slimmy, tiny people like me. So I said, let's go ahead. I continue picking balls for you. Continue going to buy this and that and that. I said, okay. Then, fortunately, Obiabuna, Professor Obiabuna, he was a prof before he left, he died, was rehearsing his show, Wind versus Polygamy. And they casted me a hunter in it. Then the man playing chief, Josephat Okurunwobo, at that time, in that chats and jokes, Nsofobua, was casted the chief Ozuomba.
In that drama piece?
In that drama bit that we call, what did I call it now? In that drama bit. So I said, what do I do? Now that they have also taken away this one. He said, no. James Hiroha is a producer here too. He's producing the drama here. The Wind versus Polygamy is being produced by him. Then the one at ESBS
was also being produced by him.
It wasn't about 3 weeks. Ukpabiasika Ajay appointed him what did I call Professor? You remember him now?
Is it Obiebuna?
Obiebuna.
Yeah.
Professor Obiebuna appointed him director of programs. NTA. I'm not NTA, but ESBS TV. It's Interested Broadcasting Television. It was just reactivated. So he appointed him. But apart from that, that of Abba had been reactivated. So he's overlooking that of ENUGU and that of Abba. Now, what do we do? Obiabuna said, I wouldn't want somebody to play a double role. If you are playing in Ozomba, Chief Ozomba show, you won't be playing in Masquerade show. But then it was called Masquerade. So, 2 of you have to choose whether you are going to act Chief Ozomba or you are going to act Chief Josephat Okorongwobo. That was how Chief Josephat Okorongwobo came to me.
The great Zebediah Okorigwe Nwobo, Chief Chika Okpala. That's part 1. If you want to hear his entire story, then you need to stay with Full Day. And you can hear everything, how he even started producing the new Masquerade. I still have Steve Oruro in the studio. Steve, let's conclude our conversation. You've talked about how we could make some progress in making the parties what they should be. But it looks like there's constant opposition to this happening. The state governors, they have too much powers and they control the parties and decide the fate of everyone. Do you agree with some school of thought that for political parties to survive in Nigeria, that we need to do something about the powers that the governors have?
I don't agree. I don't even stage impossibility. I don't engage in pursuit of, futility of some sort. Because the way party is structured, it goes in line with the leadership of the state, particularly when you have a governor who is of the party's extraction. Definitely he's going to be the leader of the party, while you also have a chairman of the party. So if there are people that are very creative and very willing to partner with Nigerians in this constant search for emancipation from sequence of misrule, then you see them behaving in a way that will propagate an effective, very robust, and very qualitative party where there will be national consensus, where there will be, exemplary leadership that others can emulate.
But the governors don't allow the chairman to be chairman.
No, I disagree. It all depends on the governor. That's why I talk about individuals.
Mm-hmm.
It borders on the personality. I've told you that a typical Nigerian position, has like two different characters. If you present the quality of character that is in consonance with, with quality delivery of the dividends of democracy and standard practices in tune with what Nigerians expect, you find your result. If you're also unlucky to find a governor who is not in that spirit, he's going to distort the processes.
Do you think that a crop of governors can give us a democratic party across board, whether they are APC, whether they are PDP, whether they are APGA, whether they are Labour Party?
I don't think so. I can only speak about the governors I stand for, particularly the ENUGU governor, with the practice that he has come to do. But that will be a matter for another day. But the most important thing as it stands today is that we are seeking independence. Nigerian people, through the party, are seeking independence, not from the imperialists, not from the colonial masters, but from a dysfunctional political class, from those who engage in elitist deceit and intellectual dishonesty. They are looking for leaders.
Are we hopeless?
Well, it's not a hopeless situation. I've told you that we have characters that are credible, piloting the affairs of the party and determine the future of the people. Because the party is not just a party, but it's a conduit pipe for leadership recruitment process. So if you don't find the right party and right attitude within the rank and file of the party, you're likely going to find a dysfunctional system.
Okay, Steve, I'd like to thank you for your time and for your insights. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you very much.
And that was Steve Oruro, Deputy Chairman of PDP in Enugu State. And that's where we're drawing the curtain on our show tonight. I'm Vin Martin Obiora Ilo from Enugu in Nigeria. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms. If you missed part of this program and you want to watch it again, go to signaturetv.org or download the Signature app. Thanks for watching, and let's do it again tomorrow night at 11 p.m.
we have male dominance in politics, which is number one. Men have dominated the political arena in Nigeria. We have educated women. We have women that have the zeal and the passion for politics, but the arena has been dominated by men. Men that, I'm sorry to say, they don't want to see women reach their desired position. So we have so many problems apart from the male domination. We have the religious problem, especially where I'm coming from. I'm coming from the northern part of the country. We have the cultural biases, we have the religious biases, which work hand in hand to bring women down during the political, in politics or generally in decision making in the country. So these three factors.
It's midweek. It's Wednesday, the 4th of June, 2025. Hope you're good out there. It's the very first week in the month. Hope you are catching up with the good tidings out of the month of June. There's a whole lot that we're expecting to happen this month of June. I hear that the wife of the president will be coming into ENUGU sometime tomorrow. I'm sure that the entire state is looking out for that. Her husband was here some few months back. And now his wife, the wife of the president, is coming here again a few months later. There must be something they're chasing here in Enugu State, whether they're chasing support for the 2027 elections or something, because again, everything is read under the premise of politics. But what isn't read on the premise of politics, because it involves lives, is what we're seeing in Benue State. Another 43 persons were confirmed killed by the governor. Many persons have called for a state of emergency in the state, and as of this morning, in fact, there is even a conversation around the presidency having to deploy the chief of army staff to these states to stay there permanently, at least to take over the security architecture of that location so as to see what they can do. But it's one thing to deploy persons there, but it's another thing to gain results. The result is stop the killing. One really hasn't been able to tell what exactly is the situation. I mean, what we just hear is killings, killings, killings. Is it a communal clash? Is it this farmers' herders clash? Or is it a total cleansing of a tribe? I mean, that is exactly what you'll be asking, so as to even know where to nip this matter in the bud. Welcome, everybody. This is the morning show on Signature TV. I'm Charles. We're beginning on the front pages of the papers right after the short break. We'll begin on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, and on the Vanguard, the screaming headlines: Niger floods, 1,249 communities in 30 states, FCT at risk, says federal government. With the rider says no water was released from Kainji, Jeba dams. Notes flood caused by heavy rainfall heightened by global warming as states take up federal government's challenge. Chief of Army Staff Oluyede relocates to Benue with PSOs, with the rider killer headers creating community of widows. Benue women cry out. Anti-kidnapping protests. Uneasy calm as soldiers, policemen take over Abraka. All right. So a kidnapping incident in Delta States that has refused to go away for quite a while now. Insecurity. Tinubu Matawale should be commended for reinvigorating Navy. All right. All the details you can find on the Vanguard. Federal government saves 12 million girls from cervical cancer in 9 months. That's all on the Vanguard. Over now to the Daily Times. On the Daily Times this morning, Tinubu's 2-year achievements, proof of visionary leadership. Information Minister speaks. Still on the Daily Times, Chief of Army Staffs relocates to Benue as Army sets to end killings. Automatic tickets to National Assembly members, APC addresses reports. Withheld local government allocation. Austrian states drags federal government to Supreme Court. Federal civil servants to federal government settle 10 months arrears by June 30. 2 arrested in Anambra over attack on police and military operatives. All right, all the details on the Daily Times newspaper. Salah, Christian scholars join Muslims to clean Eid prayer ground. On the Nation newspaper this morning, bring up alternative policies. Presidency tells critics. Federal government cautions on state police takeoff. All right, bring up alternative policies. Presidency tells critics. Federal government cautious on state police takeoff. Supporters hopeful as Fubara meets Tinubu. Supporters hopeful as Fubara meets Tinubu. President hosts Governor Adeleke and brother Davido. All the details are stuck on the Nation newspaper. On this day, Army Chief Oloyede relocates to Benue to lead offensive against marauding invaders. But the writer, new terrorist group Mahmuda resumes attacks, kills 3 in Kwara community. Bandits suffer heavy casualties in Niger. In Imo, suspected Fulani herdsmen murder US-based Nigerian abduct wife. Amechi to Wike, I don't respond to children. You were my employee. Interesting. On the Guardian newspaper this morning, telcos kick as banks plan USSD fee deductions from end users. Mokwa flood. Federal government blocks tributary climate change. Crisis looms in APC as party rejects automatic tickets bid for aspirants. Crisis looms in APC as party rejects automatic ticket bid for aspirants. Poll rates Tinubu government high as opposition critics disagree. New terror group Mahmuda kills 3 in Kwara. Poll rates Tinubu government high as opposition critics disagree. Well, this poll, where exactly did they come from? A poll, it has to be poll from Nigerians, right? Okay. Tinubu and Matawale should be commended for reinvigorating the Navy. This is from Demi Saka. Flood alerts. NEMA deploys teams in 15 high-risk states with a rider as agency warns of fresh heavy flooding. Federal government insists on evacuation and Niger recovers more corpses. All the details on the Punch newspaper. All right, that's all we can give to you when it comes to the papers today. And we have Chris Monica, as always, for the analysis out of our papers this morning. Chris, good morning. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Charles. And thank you, the wonderful people who are either watching or listening to us this morning. We thank God for his mercies, who has brought us into another day.
So COS is relocating to Benue State. Maybe he has a totally different mindset as to what they're doing there. I know there's someone who has actually said they should change every single commander in Benue. It looks like some sort of compromise or sabotage, as the case may be. So maybe his presence there would change something different. Do you think so?
Well, because there is in every situation where there is totally lack of trust and confusion, people are meant to start pulling out whatever they think is the problem. The problem with insecurity in Nigeria is multifaceted and hydra-headed. Every right-thinking Nigerian knows that whether COS relocate to Benue, whether they move the Chief of Staff office permanently, or whether they move the highest office of Nigerian Army to that location, if we still do not do what is right, we'll still be having this killing. A lot of causes have been, or whatever the causes of this insecurity in Nigeria has been, being said or being, pulled out by the people of Nigeria towards these issues. I think all of them should be put together and filtered, narrowed down to, instead of ceremonial movement of COS. Because we have had, when even the president said, order the relocation to Borno, and after that, what happens? Is it the temporary relocation, and then when you pull back to Abuja, your comfort zone, what happens continue? I read yesterday of how many communities in Benue State that has been taken over by the armed bandits. So, let's not be that we are preempting the COS or the policy of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to fight insecurity in Benue and other states that are. How many COS do we have? How many of them will move? Are we going to share the COS into three? One half of them go to Benue, one to Plateau, one to Borno. And then look at the incidents in even Imo. Because we are talking about this, but there's a soft spot where isolated a man who returned from US has been killed and the wife abducted. That one is, nobody is talking about that. We are talking about millions where millions are being killed every day. Is that not part of insecurity? So if the COS moves to that place and the attention moves to Benue, what happens to Imo? What happens to Anambra? What happens to Enugu? Yesterday we saw what happened on the road to near Obioma going to Udi and all that, the old road that links the 9th mile. There is high level of insecurity in Nigeria, and we all know. So ceremonial movement of COS, Nigerian security agencies should begin to redeploy all the heads. Probably if COS go to Benue, the Director General of the DG of DSS moves to Borno, and the other, let them move, because they have all taken responsibility. So let them share them around Nigeria. Instead of sitting back in Abuja. I think it's a good move, but it's not only COS, because only COS cannot fight insecurity in Nigeria. And I don't know what battalion is moving with. So COS ceremonial moving, what is he going with? With Tokano aircraft that we were told has been the sign that it cannot be used until further notice, 5 years after purchase. Or what is he moving with? I don't know, because the sophistication of the insecurity in Nigeria, we are speaking of Igbo, and this thing is gathering moss every day. It's gathering moss. In southeast Nigeria, over 950 communities have been occupied by suspected terrorists and bandits, or whatever you call them. When are we beginning to look at that? Which COS will move to southeast Nigeria? We have the commander of 82D. He's only one person. Despite all this ceremonial movement, things are still happening. I'm saying that the movement, I'm not condemning it. I'm saying that we needed to do more than moving COS to, because he cannot be everywhere at the same time. We better think about a comprehensive solution, that anywhere the COS is, he'll be giving orders and things will be happening. It's not. That means until Motor CO is not, the Benue, nothing happened. They are also showing us that there's a lacuna. So if the president or COS or any of these heads of security agencies do not move, nothing will happen. Something is wrong. And then we have to begin to accept that. Then the fight in APC that is looming over automatic tickets. If you give automatic tickets to your president, even 2 years before the elections are coming, APC has given automatic ticket to the flag bearer, and they mentioned it, and they went to the press. We still have 702 days to go. And you already declared, leave him, say Haraya Tinubu, our dear president. And that's wonderful. I don't know, Tinubu need to be studied in Nigerian political science departments and faculties across the globe. He has a magic wand of how to pull oppositions to the center. Yesterday, Sani, what do you call it? This former senator, Senator Sani, the activist, turned the senator, also gave endorsement. And then I still pull back and start saying, watch this. Something is really happening. And then, so 90 million flights cannot be wrong. There must be something that President Tinubu is doing to Nigerians that nobody has actually talked about. So let's begin, instead of talking about it and standing in there with an open mouth, say, let's begin to study what is been happening. We say, I salute the courage of people who still stand and said, here we are. And the Amechis, the El-Rufais and the Atikus and the Obis, at least, with whatever effort they're making, they're still giving the world the impression that we still have some same politicians around who cannot be pulled around, no matter what. At least, even if whatever happens, this is where I am, so it's time to be identified for the future. Instead of all these one chance politicians, enter, then they see another one. They're just jumping around and then confusing even the followers. So Tinubu's 2 years achievement is a proof of visionary leadership, said the information minister. At least the information minister has begun to work to earn his money. Most people in Nigeria and students don't even know the name of our information minister, unlike the days of Lai Mohammed. Now he has actually proved himself. My principal is working. And if your principal is not working and is not showing proof of two visionary, who will show? So what have you said? And Daily Times made it front the headlines. Beautiful. He's the Minister of Information. At least Daily Times still want to be in business. So there are some headlines when we are talking about, let's talk about what actually talks the Niger flood has trumped up so many things like we have been trumping up on this desk. It has brought to our notice that 1,249 communities in 30 states, we were saying 32 the other day, and if we have 36 states plus FCT Abuja in Nigeria, and 30 states are critically, even FCT is at risk, says the federal government. It means we have a bigger one coming. And that is actually where I think we should be going. But now, my cry is that look at the list they were given. I was looking through. I saw Anambra, I saw Ebonyi. I was looking for ENUGU, I didn't see it. Meaning that, but you know, it can be confusing. Now the federal government would have come to do is to tell 36 states from Abuja in Nigeria are under siege of flood and they are at risk. So that some governors won't go and say, hey, Hulera, we are safe. Because I know even in ENUGU that Aniri is vulnerable to flood. And it has happened several times in our time. So who says that when water starts, when there's overflow in Kogi and Anambra neighboring that Aniri bordering the ENUGU and Anambra will not get involved? Because the Omambra River is a tributary to River Niger and it's all that side. They know how these things are done. And they were told here that the tributaries to the major rivers in Nigeria are all blocked and silhouetted. So what are we talking about? Somebody will begin now to to think about what do we do. The Nigerian waterway, what they call it, NEWAS. Nigerian Waterway Agency, whatever they call themselves, they have their headquarters in Lokoja. And these are one silent people where they suck Nigerian money down and the people there earn a fat, even see their budget. So you begin to know, but they are supposed to, where there are blockages to these tributaries, they're supposed to open them up. By deslitting them or deepening them and making up, because we are in for big time trouble. Like during the days, the world international community are talking about, they have this world agenda when issues are moving to climate change. They have 20 years ago gotten ready for climate change. Africa and Nigeria are beginning now is when they touch them. You say, how many times will something happen to you? You say, when it happened to me, 1, 2, 3. And like, you know, Mike Ejaga, the legendary and classical philosopher, turned musician. We tell you, my son, how many times will something happen to you and you take learn your lesson? Say 3 times. He say, go! You're a foolish person. I'm not comparing Nigeria with such kind of children. When things will happen, we have to lose over 2,000 people in Mokwa, Florida. And they are just talking about giving us figures that are to be politically correct. But when you have given us that over 200 people are gone and the 500 people cannot be accounted for, what are you telling us? Because that's how it started. And more corpses have been, they are not accounted into these numbers. So, if they refuse to give us number, we can as well give the number that we are seeing, the pictures and the very video, that over 2,000 people in Mokwa had gone. And whatever we are thinking, we have used them as sacrificial lambs. Because Nimet warned, and has warned again within this week. You can see the rain, even in ENUGU yesterday, and there are this morning. Some few bad roads where you have potholes cannot be walked, in despite all the effort the government is making. Because we cannot lose sight of that. But what we are saying, this is the time everybody, because we find that most people in government, especially those who work in the ministries, all be wanting to run around governors as if that's what they were appointed to do. Every morning you go and answer Sam here. That is not. We have Ministry of Environment. We have ministries, people that should be in the field. Ministry of Works. How many times have we seen the Commissioner of Works in the states moving around? If their principal is not going on the space, that's when they make it event. How many times are they doing that? So who tells the governor what's happening? They sit down there with governor at any time looking into his eyeballs so that when he coughs, they answer yes, sir. These are part of the problem we have in Nigeria. The people that are appointed by Tinubu, the people that are appointed by the governors, and they are not pushing them to work. They want to see them every moment. If they want to go for, they will come and say, sir, I want to go and see where bad road is spoiled, whether it's rain. You say, go. If they say not go, you sit down. And they call them commissioners. Everybody want to run around, say, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. That's how things are happening. Until you get the bad, Nigerians get confused. But Nigerians are still the people suffering. These over 2,000 people that have gone in Mokwa. Where? Have you had a one member of the House of People who are National Assembly? Don't they have people coming from Mokwa? Have you had anybody from even the State Assembly? Anybody from the State Cabinet related? They will take all their relations away and leave us in this mess. And when it happened, they start pulling up statements that were told us for over 20 years in Nigeria. Government regret, government mourns, the governor says, and they regret, the governor has ordered. Why must we wait to that point where you start? When the warnings are clear sign. Why do we have Nimet that will tell us? But when Nimet warned them that they're going on strike because they went on the Nimet plan when they went on that strike. It was when they were having hazy weather during Hamatan. They paid them to return so that they can use the flights. And you tell them these people who are managing our lives in Nigeria are fair, that they are sensitive. Is it not wickedness? How can we hand over our lives to selfish and insensitive people who are only thinking about themselves? Where is the leadership? The election is coming around. All of them are meeting again, speaking and talking, and that they think Nigerians are red cotton commercial sex workers. When you go to ask for their vote when you need it. That's what they've done us. That is evil. That is evil. Because so some of them now don't even need the services of sex workers. They use sex toys. So meaning they can even do and get back to those positions without coming to the street to ask for votes. And that's why we are suffering. If they need our vote, they will know what to do. They don't need our votes. And that's why we are crying. These things, if it's when people that go to office need our vote, you will see clearly what they will be doing. There are few areas where people are still making effort to do, but they are not doing as much as we expected. There's high expectation because things have gone real bad.
Right. We're almost out of time, but let's just finish off with this particular headline on Guardian. Poll rates Tinubu government high as opposition critics disagree.
The opposition will always disagree. I said there's something that is happening with Tinubu, this Jagabanization of Nigeria, and that he has pulled it to a great extent that even if it's not because I am a journalist, not supposed to hold an opinion, I would have started thinking about whether to allow myself to be Jagabanized. Because these things that everybody you look onto, everybody is saying the bug is catching up. That's what I said. I give it to them. So when the pool are saying, but then, like you, when you were starting your opening remark, you said, who is organizing the pool? At what point did they call the pool? How effective and objective is the pooling? These are all build-ups. So we have to watch it. It is not how the bitter cola sounds in your mouth. That's not how it tastes. That is politics for you in Nigeria. And these politicians, they can't stop Rotimi Amechi, when he was the governor of, and people have forgotten. So whenever this man blows hot, where he sent fire, who will do this, why he pull the ground rent in Abuja, do all the things, and has sworn that he must deliver Tinubu in River State again, like he swore last time. Somebody told him, I don't talk. Probably why I kept quiet is I don't talk to small boys like you. Because you were my boy. And if you have been in State House and know how Chief of Staff relates to governor, you will know that is not a made-up issue. It is real. And anytime, if it is where my people will say, where either the GC that the man should know his senior and his boss and recognize it. But when some power enter your mouth, you don't even know is, you see, there's something they say, when things go bad, even the he-goat will not recognize his mother in the mist. You start climbing all of them. And that is what we are seeing with some Nigerian politicians. When they get power and get into their head, they will even forget who brought them to limelight. And they can do anything, talk anyhow. And somebody is beginning to say, well, it's time we tell you, you were my boy earlier. And if nothing happens, for Amechi to be at 60 and they release that bomb, let the person who was told that you were a boy to Amechi go and dilute it. I shouldn't be the person diluting it for him.
Right.
I don't want for just on weekend. He has PAs. Let them react to what Amechi said because they are fond of reacting to issues. God bless Nigeria. As we pray, we are standing on a keg of gunpowder as flood is the next terror that we are fighting.
All right, Chris, many thanks for your insights. We truly appreciate it. As always, we're back after this short break. Just stay.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
With a population of about 36 million people, the Southeast is awash with stories. Every day on Southeast News, we tell the peculiar story of the Southeast and her people.
Our Southeast should be the Silicon Valley of Nigeria.
Their successes, achievements, and daily challenges. Do you have a Southeast story to share? Community achievements and challenges, completed and uncompleted projects, bad roads, water scarcity, erosion, flooding, insecurity, or even disagreements? Bring it on to Southeast News. On Southeast News, no story is too big or too small. Southeast News. Let's tell our story. Showing on Signature TV every weekday at 4 p.m. WAT, 1600 hours GMT.